Hello, everyone, and welcome to J is for Justice. My name is Jay. I'm your host. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button if you like what you see today and give that video a thumbs up. Yo, yo, yo. I am back for round two. We were here earlier, and we were here a little bit too early. But we are here now, and welcome to J is for Justice. Hello, my friends. I see a lot of my friends in chat. We are here for the hearing to decide if Lori and Chad's trials will be combined. Lori's attorney, says, it's fine by us. But Chad's attorney, Mr. Shady, he says no. So Rob Wood is going to argue the prosecution side of why he thinks it makes sense to have them together. They have the same witnesses. They have the same charges. Everything's the same. So we'll see what the judge says. Hey, Brieg. Nice to see all of you guys. Am I yelling in your ears? I feel like I'm yelling. I did vacuum and dust. Well, one full room anyways. At least I got something accomplished, right? That's always a good thing. We're waiting for the stream to start. Yes, we are. It's supposed to start right at 10 o'clock Mountain. It's still early there in Mountain Time. So Jason said in chat that they are doing a dive for Suzanne Morphew's body right now out in Colorado somewhere. And I saw someone say, God, it must be cold. Yeah, Dre lives out there, and I think it's been really cold and like snowy. You think that Chad's going to throw Lori under the bus, and that's why? Probably. If somebody wants to Google that and maybe find a link, we can check that out if this hearing isn't too long. I don't know how long this hearing is going to be. It's in the 40s. Ooh. And that's in New York. Let me tell you what it is down here in sunny Florida today. This is my time of year. I love to rub it in. I promise I won't do it for too long, but when you guys are up north and out west and you're buried in the snow and it's cold, right now, actually, it's too hot here. It's 85 and it feels like 97, you guys. Like, that's really hot. And I haven't gone to the beach lately because I'm scared of the jellyfish. I am scared of the jellyfish. There was an abundance of them from all these hurricanes in the Gulf. And I just went and walked the beach one day and I saw like 4 of them washed up. I was like, oh, hell to the no. Not happening. So I'm kind of waiting for them to say that the jellyfish have moved on from our area because it's too scary. Because you don't even have to be in deep and you can get stung. Like my hand got grazed like a couple weeks ago. And when I hear there's a lot in there, nah. So, all right, I'm waiting for the stream to open up here. I keep refreshing to check so we don't miss anything. All right, I'm going to open up the live, even though we are just waiting. Thank you to East Idaho News. I know that I can get it off the court website as well, but I am going to be using their stream from Facebook. So credit to East Idaho News for the footage. Yeah, it seems like it's been a long time since we heard anything on this case, and we kind of spent a lot of time revisiting the Watts case lately. I started to have like nightmares and stuff about the Watts people. Whew, got a little too deep, but I don't know Key West. You might want to Google it and see, but Key West doesn't really have a whole lot of beach. You're going to Key West. I don't know if you've ever been there before, but it's not known for its beaches. What's AWP is filming, but not letting the public know where they are. We are searching other than the generalities on small news clips. I don't know if I missed something. Oh, Suzanne. Okay. Adventure with a Purpose is filming, but they are not letting the public know where they are. Wow. Tim Sparks. Hello, Jay, fellow Michigander. Where are you from? Where are you from, Tim? What is up, Baby D? Hit it, Baby D. One of these days I'm going to beatbox for your ass. Is that the link for the Suzanne thing? If you're going snorkeling, then that's not a problem. That link didn't work for me. It's more like near the shore when you're going swimming. What up, SMS? Oh, Seabawang. I remember you. Yeah. You've been in here before. We've chatted. You're learning about this case, Dave? You weren't familiar with it before? Jason thinks the police are hiding something. What do you mean, Jason? Like hiding something or not letting the public know? Which do you mean? Do you mean hiding something like sinister? Darlene, Lori will not be in court because she's not. It keeps saying, oops, something went wrong, and I don't know why. Let's see. It's taking me to YouTube Studio, Dre. I don't know why. It's not, that link won't work for me, but let me try it somewhere else. Lori's not going to be there because she's not arguing about combining the cases. Her lawyer doesn't care. Her lawyer's like, cool, let's do it. But Chad, now on the other hand, and I think someone said this, that he's probably going to throw her under the bus. Here we go. We're live. Let me get some sound. Damn it.
Is here on behalf of the state, and we are conducting this hearing because
Rule 8B states that it's appropriate for two defendants to be charged together if they are alleged to have participated in the same act or transaction or in the same series of acts or transactions constituting an offense or offenses. It also establishes that each defendant does not need to have identical charges to do so. Rule 13 gives the court the authority to order that two or more complaints, indictments, or informations be tried together if the offenses and defendants, if there is more than one, could have been joined in a single complaint, indictment, or information. In the case before the court, Chad and Lori Daybell are both charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to conceal, alter, or destroy evidence. Chad Daybell is additionally charged with 2 counts of concealing, altering, or destroying evidence. The evidence in question for all counts is essentially the same. That evidence is the deceased bodies of Lori Daybell's children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Both of the deceased children were found on Chad Daybell's property in Fremont County, Idaho. They were found after law enforcement discovered a text from Chad Daybell to his now deceased wife, Tammy, matching that text with geolocation data from the phone of Lori Daybell's now deceased brother, Alex Cox, gave law enforcement the location of the children's bodies. The Daybells are charged with conspiracy because the evidence which the state will present shows that there was a plan between the defendants in regards to the fate of Lori Daybell's children. The evidence in this case, the state believes, will demonstrate that the concealment of Tylee and JJ's bodies are the result of the same plan and the same series of acts or transactions which constitute the offense for which both defendants are charged. And that is the standard set forth in Rule 8b. I note that the standard is the allegation that they are alleged to have committed those acts. Beyond Idaho's criminal rules, the courts have made it clear that joint trials are appropriate. As mentioned in the state's brief in Zafiro versus the United States, the Supreme Court stated that joint trials play a vital role in the criminal justice system, that they promote efficiency, serve the interest of justice by avoiding the scandal and inequity of inconsistent verdicts. Currently, the defendant's cases are assigned to two different judges. This is highly inefficient, as it requires duplicative work from two judges, their clerks, and their staff. It requires the state to perform duplicative work by creating a need to litigate similar issues twice in front of two different courts. This raises one of the most important issues in front of the court, as in most criminal cases, issues of evidence will be litigated prior to trial in these cases. It's inevitable. The trial court has varying degrees of discretion over the admissibility of evidence. As these cases are currently situated, it's entirely possible that an issue of evidence could be decided upon differently by two different courts. The state believes that could create automatic issues of appeal if that decision is beneficial to one defendant and yet harmful to another defendant. At this point in the proceeding, the requirement that the defendants receive a fair trial is better served by consistent pretrial rulings, which would help avoid the inconsistent verdicts discussed in Zafiro. In Bruton versus the United States, the Supreme Court stated that joint trials conserve state funds, diminish inconvenience to witnesses and public authorities, and avoid delays in trials. The witnesses in these cases are the same witnesses discussing the same evidence. And I'd ask the court to consider the fact that if these cases are tried separately, or even litigated prior to trial separately, that creates a great inconvenience and hardship on witnesses who live out of state. Witnesses in this case live in the various states of Idaho, Arizona, and Hawaii, and possibly others. Separate proceedings will create a great cost to the state in bringing those witnesses in for essentially duplicative testimony. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in the United States versus Jenkins stated that joint trials are particularly appropriate where co-defendants are charged with conspiracy. The Idaho Court of Appeals in State versus Blake stated that an appropriate and fair trial can be accomplished in a joint trial, and the benefits of a joint trial in light of the allegations of conspiracy, as well as the need for the same witnesses and evidence, can outweigh other concerns. It's the state's contention that the rule for joinder should be construed broadly to allow liberal joinder to enhance the efficiency of the judicial system. One issue we did not discuss in our brief, but the state feels is very important, is the effect separate trials will have on pretrial publicity. There can be no question that separate cases requiring separate hearings will create more pretrial publicity. Consider the explosive nature of a story in which two different courts reach two different decisions on the same question of law or fact. The state has gone to every effort to protect both defendants' right to a fair trial, even asking the magistrate court in this case to refrain from broadcasting the preliminary hearing. Again, separate cases absolutely means more hearings, more media coverage, and more difficulty in finding a suitable jury. Mr. Daybell has provided the court with State v. Nava, as we discussed prior to this hearing. I would point out that Nava deals primarily with Rule 8A, which governs joinder of offenses, whereas the state is asking the court to make a decision under Rule 8B, which governs joinder of defendants. Nevertheless, the state acknowledges that joinder of offenses and joinder of defendants shares a similar analysis. It's important to note that the decision in Nava hinged on whether the defendant's multiple offenses shared a common scheme or plan. In the case before the court, we aren't litigating a common scheme or plan. We are litigating a conspiracy, which is the same scheme and the same plan shared by co-conspirators. Nava is instructive in its discussion of Idaho Criminal Rule 14. At the end of the day, the defendants must have a fair trial. If the defendants believe that joinder will prejudice them at trial, they may object and present evidence to the court on those grounds. At this point in the case, the court lacks enough information to make any such decision. Even if this court did find at some point that separate trials were necessary to protect the defendant's rights, At this stage in litigation, the requirements of justice and efficiency are better served by joinder of the defendant's cases under one court with one judge. A decision to join the cases now does not preclude the court from hearing argument under Rule 14 at a later time. The defendant always has the right, both defendants have the right to make that motion at any time prior to trial.
That would be a motion to sever that you're referring to?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. A motion to sever under Rule 14. I would, as the court noted, the defendant, Lori Daybell, has filed a notice of non-objection to the state's motion for joinder. Finally, Your Honor, I would ask the court to consider the effect of keeping the cases separate, the effect that will have on the families of Tylee and JJ. They are victims in this case as well and have a right to be present at any physical proceedings it may have. Who knows how that will play out with COVID, but it's entirely possible that we will have many of these proceedings live. None of the close family members of Tylee and JJ live in Idaho, whereas due to the fact that Tylee and JJ moved to Idaho very soon before their deaths. And I'd ask the court to consider the hardship on Tylee and JJ's brother, the Woodcock family, the Vallow family, and the Cox family in keeping these proceedings separate. Consolidating these cases creates less hearings and less travel for those victims, and as such, less hardship. In conclusion, criminal rules 8B and 13 allow this court to make a decision to join these cases. The standard for joinder, again, is that the defendants engaged in the same acts or transactions or series of acts or transactions constituting an offense. And in this case, that's heightened by the fact that they are alleged to have engaged in a conspiracy. The state believes the standards clearly met in this case. Further, the defendant's right to a fair trial are protected by Rule 14 and the possibility of a motion for severance at a later date if necessary. And as such, the state respectfully asks this court to join Chad and Lori Daybell's cases into one case.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wood, for the argument. Mr. Pryor, argument in opposition.
Yes, Judge. Judge, I took the liberty of submitting State versus Nava to the court. I'm fully aware, and I appreciate Mr. Wood pointing out that Nava addresses 8A, but I think the analysis is the same. I think in good faith, I can't argue that the allegations, and I want to make it clear that they are allegations against Mr. Daybell and Ms. Vallow are similar in nature, and that under the prong of 8B, it applies, and the joinder does apply. The objection, Judge, that I filed talks about prejudice. Further, I appreciate that Mr. Wood recognizes that at any time in the future, I can file a motion for severance under 14 and say that trying these two folks in the same proceeding is highly prejudicial. Mr. Wood and I have discussed, and I'm not going to make a matter of this, but there's still some housekeeping that needs to be done in terms of discovery that Mr. Wood and I are going to privately engage in trying to resolve, and if necessary, we'll ask the court's assistance. But at this point, without all of the information in this case, I'm not in a position to argue severance on this date, and that's going to have to be reserved for a different date. But Mr. Wood's argument, Judge, to suggest convenience to the court and expense to the county and the difficulty of witnesses is secondary. And primarily, Judge, the importance is Mr. Daybell going to get a fair opportunity to present his side of the story? And is it going to be able to be presented without any kind of prejudice or bias? Or are they going to infer anything from any other witness or any other defendant or anybody else that does not afford him an opportunity to fairly present his case? And although 8A doesn't specifically address bias, the Nava case talks briefly that there is still a prejudice or a bias, and the court can evaluate that. Now, I understand there's been an inordinate amount of publicity. Mr. Wood has pointed out examples of some of the publicity, and I've pointed out examples, and that's going to be reserved for a different date in November when we talk about venue. But the fact remains, Judge, that by linking the two of these folks together is still going to provide a modicum of prejudice. And although I have to concede that joinder, when you look straight at the rule 8A, that there is an allegation of similar facts in this case. The fact remains is what I would ask the court to do is reserve a ruling on joinder, allow the argument to be made in terms of severance once Mr. Wood and I have resolved our discovery issues, and decide at that point whether or not we're going to proceed in a common trial. I don't think it's an effective argument for Mr. Wood to suggest that he's going to have to make more effort and he's going to have to do duplicative work in two different cases. And I'm sorry that he's going to have to engage in that. But the fact remains is that
I'm a little confused on, we don't get to severance without a joinder because right now we do have two separate proceedings before two separate courts. So I guess I don't quite follow the argument of reserving ruling on joinder and then argue severance later.
well, and that's
Actually where in all we are, you could call it severed because we have separate proceedings, separate judges right now.
I guess my feeling, Judge, is simply this, is that if the court joins the case, you're going to require the fact that I go through the analysis and we come back and there's going to be a continued hearing. Now the court understands it. Maybe I wasn't being particularly clear. I guess from my position is I would leave the status quo because at this point, we are going to be going back and arguing these same facts again in a severance case once again, and I'm not beating on this, Mr. Wood, please don't take it this way, but once Mr. Wood resolves some of the outstanding issues that we have yet to resolve between the two of us. I guess from my perspective is that we proceed along as we are proceeding. And if at some point there needs to be a further ruling on the joinder, at that point we can go forward and do both of them at the same time. If the court doesn't want to do that, the court can make its ruling. And obviously, I think both of counsel and I have indicated to the court there is the opportunity without further action for a motion for severance in the future, Judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the argument, Mr. Pryor. Mr. Wood, if you'd like to make any final rebuttal argument, you can do so.
I would just point out that the duplicative nature of work in this case, if the cases aren't joined, and the inconvenience that causes not only the state but witnesses and victims, is absolutely appropriate for the court to consider. It's one of the factors brought up in the case law presented to the court. Other than that, I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Wood. Well, counsel, I've considered the motion. I'm prepared to make a ruling at this time. As I mentioned when we started the hearing, this motion's been pending for quite some time. It was filed on September 1st, so almost 2 months ago. The concerns the state brings up as reasons to join the cases at this time I've considered, and I have to look at the two-prong analysis that's set forth in the case law and supported by the rules under Rule 8 and Rule 13 of the Idaho Criminal Rules. And the two factors I look at is, number one, under Rule 8B, is there a common scheme or plan to support the joinder that is alleged to have occurred in these two cases? And then part two is, would a joint trial of the two defendants be prejudicial, looking at joinder under 13 of trying the cases together. So as I mentioned at the outset, in the other case, which is Mrs. Daybell's case, CR 222838, there was filed a notice of non-objection, and that is part of the consideration. But looking at the first prong, I think that's easily satisfied under the allegations of the two cases. In each case, there's been a complaint filed in one. In Mr. Daybell's case here today, that's an amended criminal complaint filed on June 30th. But both cases have charges of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. And in each case, or each complaint, I should say, that's pending in both cases, there's a list of overt acts that are alleged to have occurred in support of the conspiracy charges, and two separate sets of overt acts. When I review those complaints, the overt acts are identical as to both cases, and the charges themselves all relate to the common evidence the state would bring forward at trial and the common witnesses based on those conspiracy charges. So it's pretty clear that the first prong of whether or not there's a common scheme or plan is supported under Rule 8B for joinder of the offenses in this case. And then looking at whether or not the joint trial of the two defendants would be prejudicial, there was an allegation in the response that was filed that this would create additional publicity, which would prejudice the right of Mr. Daybell to a fair trial if these cases were joined. I've considered that. I've also considered the arguments of the state that having two separate courses run in two different cases with two different judges could result in separate evidentiary rulings. There could be some inconsistencies. There would be duplicative hearings. And I think quite concerning given our circumstances right now under our COVID restrictions and the difficulties we have even getting a jury trial at this point. The prospect of having two separate trials where two separate juries would have to be impaneled to try each case is concerning as well. And so when I look at all the factors and the supporting case law, I don't find that the prejudice at this point has been demonstrated that would be sufficient to prevent me from joining these cases. And so based on the analysis and consideration of the citations also provided by Mr. Wood, and also in due consideration of the new case that was cited by Mr. Pryor, the Nava case, I read through that as well. I do find the facts of that somewhat inapplicable to the issue I've got at hand. That's where a single defendant had a trial involving separate multiple victims, which were put together in a single trial. Here we've got two defendants with a single common scheme or plan that is alleged. And so upon consideration of all that, counsel, I am going to grant the motion to join at this time. As the parties indicated, that doesn't forego the possibility of a future motion for severance if prejudice is demonstrated by the defense in support of that motion. So clearly, Mr. Pryor, you have that opportunity going forward if you believe the prejudice would exist after we get further down the road with these cases being joined. But I am going to order the joinder of the cases. I'll grant the motion. Then, Mr. Wood, if you'd submit appropriate order, I'd appreciate that.
Yes, Your Honor, we'll prepare that order.
All right. Mr. Wood, do you have any questions regarding my ruling today?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pryor, any questions from the defense regarding the court's ruling?
No, Judge, thank you for your consideration this morning.
All right, thank you very much, counsel. I appreciate your preparedness this morning and your briefing and arguments. And if there's nothing further, then we'll be in recess.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you.
Yay. Okay, so they are combining the two cases of Chad and Lori Daybell. So we will see them in court together in January. Come January. Yeah, so exciting stuff. I want to flip over really quick because we have something else going down in the Suzanne Morphew case. I have a couple videos here. We're going to watch Lauren Scharf. Excuse me. We're going to watch Lauren Scharf first. She's speaking about the job over there in Broomfield, Colorado. So here we go. This is the latest in the Suzanne Morphew case. We're just full of news today. All right, here's Miss Lauren. Let's see what she's got to say.
Why was Suzanne Morphew alone on Mother's Day? Where was her family? What did her husband do Sunday? If he worked with who, doing what, where, and when? So many of us have wondered this. I'm Lauren Scharf, and I have new information that I'm ready to share. When I first looked into the case of missing mother Suzanne Morphew in Chaffee County, one of the many questions I had was, where was Suzanne's immediate family? Where was her husband and the kids, and why weren't they together on Mother's Day? Suzanne's daughters, I was told, were on a camping trip out of state and left Wednesday. Barry, Suzanne's husband, was away working in Denver. Many question whether or not there was even a job in Denver, or was it made up? I can confirm that yes, there was a job in Broomfield, Colorado. After speaking with Morgan Gentile and Jeffrey Puckett, cross-referencing with them and public documents as well as folks who live in the area, I learned where the Broomfield job was, that Barry told me he had to do prep work for his employees on Sunday and left Suzanne in her bed at 5 a.m. Another question came up. How did Barry in the lawn care business in Salida get a job 162 miles away in Broomfield? That's about a 3-hour drive. Does the company who hired Barry have connections in Salida or Indiana, where the Morphews used to live? I've learned that the companies involved do have connections to Indiana and of Purdue University, where Suzanne and Barry attended. Those questions led me to this information and an interview with a worker for an Indiana company. I've been asked not to share the identity of this worker in Indiana. The general contracting company called Garrett Construction LLC hired another Indiana subcontracting company called EA Outdoor Services LLC, who then hired Barry Morphew to put up 2 retaining walls next to the Northwest Parkway in Broomfield, Colorado. EA Outdoor Services president Tony Miller, who hired Barry for the walls, is a lifelong friend. This worker who I spoke with said he knew nothing of Barry Morphew until Suzanne went missing and learned that he was allegedly working for them the day she went missing. None of the public documents I dug up for this job ever mentioned Barry Morphew. Here's video of what the walls look like now. There's a slight curve in the more eastern wall and the longer western wall is straight. Guess what? It's less than a mile away from the Holiday Inn Express and Suites where Barry checked into and where Morgan Gentile, Jeffrey Puckett, and Cassidy Cordova stayed at. A 2-minute car ride. I know you're probably wondering if there's any surveillance cameras in the area facing the wall. I looked, there isn't. After digging through the public documents, I've learned that the wall work was first worked on by Barry's crew in October of 2019 by Cassidy Cordova and Cody Cox. The worker I spoke with mentioned that Barry didn't do work on this original project, he just delegated the work. He also said after they completed the job that the walls needed to be fixed. Quote, "It was horrible. They did a miserable job like kids did it." Morgan also admitted this to me about the eastern wall, that it was crooked and that they came to redo it that Mother's Day. Also, there were revisions to that wall filed on April 7th, so they had to straighten the wall out and add more blocks to make the wall taller and extend it. The second wall revisions weren't filed until July 9th. This worker told me he had learned on May 7th that a crew would be heading back to the Broomfield site on Monday, May 11th to redo the wall, not Sunday, Mother's Day. He told me, quote, "It being the job wasn't any way urgent. No one crowded him to do it. Meeting deadlines for his company is important, but in no way did he seem like this job in particular was an emergency." So what did the wall look like after Sunday, May 10th? Morgan told me that when her, Jeffrey, and Cassidy arrived Monday morning, she said it looked like Barry had done about 30 minutes of work to the wall. She tells me Barry supposedly removed the capstones, which is the top layer of the wall, and moved some dirt around in the middle. I asked the worker what tools would be needed to do this type of work. He said a crowbar and shovels, but typically a bobcat. He said the capstones are glued on with adhesive. The rest of the blocks are held together by geogrid. Before I tell you more, I should inform you that for the city of Broomfield, you have to get permission by the city to work on Saturday and Sunday to minimize impacts of work in the rights of way of the public. According to Broomfield Municipal Code 14-10-150, workers are only allowed to work Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The ordinance specifically prohibits work at any time on Saturday, Sunday, or any holiday, unless the construction inspection supervisor or building director gives written permission. No work permits were approved for Sunday, May 10th. The construction inspection supervisor confirmed to me that the county and the city of Broomfield policy is to not issue work permits for a Sunday unless under great emergency. The wall is on the Broomfield Regional Trail, which is a public access path. The worker in Indiana told me the subcontractor, Tony Miller, knew this, and Barry should have known this this as well. When the job was botched the first time, there was a meeting supposedly where Barry learned about all the rules, again, according to this worker. When I was first talking to this Indiana worker, he told me that he thinks Barry didn't do any work because if he did do work on Sunday, he was in violation of the Broomfield Ordinance. He said, quote, him having to be there on Sunday, Mother's Day, to do that job was a lie because we wouldn't have allowed that if we had known. This worker was asked on Tuesday, May 12th, to find out who was out there working on the wall. He was told maybe they had abducted Barry's wife. He said, quote, Tony was convinced those workers did something. These pictures are from Tuesday, May 12th. You can see Morgan, Jeffrey, and Cassidy working on the wall. Here you can see the tools they used to disassemble the wall and put the wall back up, and what the wall looked like then. My source said it's true. They had no material, no equipment such as a skid steer, backfill, or block to make the wall taller and extend it. This picture of the wall is from Wednesday morning, May 13th, when Morgan, Jeffrey, Cassidy all were back in Salida. The guy I spoke with said he was shocked with the amount of material they moved with shovels. It looked like the work was done in a hastily fashion, done in a hurry, and didn't make it taller. He even said it looked worse than before. Morgan told me that she couldn't order the block because she didn't have the number or the company's name. She told me Barry said the block would arrive Monday afternoon, so since it never arrived, they just tried to make the wall straighter with the materials they already had. My source told me that they needed the Bobcat desperately. He said, quote, this crew had nothing. I do not believe they are lying. Morgan, Jeffrey were also perplexed. They didn't have what they needed. Barry should have known these materials were necessary to do the job long before Suzanne went missing because he had been tasked to put up the wall prior. Workers allegedly asked Tony what he was doing with the wall. I'm told that Tony did give his opinion of why the material hadn't been ordered, and that was that Barry probably didn't get around to it since his wife was abducted. The worker tells me that if Tony knew he needed to order material, he would do it. I'm told Tony Miller ordered the material back in October of 2019, but he did not in May for Barry's crew. I also double-checked with the Colorado company who provides the block, and they didn't make any orders to Broomfield on May 10th, 11th, 12th, or 13th. I'm told normally that Garrett Construction LLC provides a geotech inspector to observe and make sure the soil is compacted properly and grit is put in during the job. They collect soil data, which is recorded in public documents, and the City of Broomfield inspector can't sign off on the final project unless the soil has been sampled multiple times throughout all stages of the job. But in this instance, beginning Sunday, May 10th, when Barry allegedly started working, then his crew continued the job through Tuesday. At no time during these days was there any material available on this job site, such as the block, Class 1 backfill, and geogrid. So therefore, the general contractor couldn't send out the geotech inspector, even if they had been notified. Also, on EA Outdoor Services LLC website states an EA Outdoor Services member normally monitors the progress each day to ensure that the project is on track and installed properly. So my question is, who from EA Outdoor Services was monitoring Barry on Sunday when he started the project on the wall? Was it Tony Miller? When I called Tony Miller, the president of EA Outdoor Services, who is friends with Barry and hired him for the job, he told me, quote, no comment. He knew why I was calling and who I was, but didn't want to answer any of my questions. There is no question there was not a member of EA Outdoor Services LLC monitoring Morgan, Jeffrey, and Cassidy. Morgan and Jeffrey did not even know the subcontractor or the general contracting company they were working for when they worked on the wall. This is likely another reason why it was hard to pinpoint where this job was. I do know that Broomfield police have no record of assisting Chaffee County Sheriff's Office with their investigation into the disappearance of Suzanne Morphew. and did not have records of searching a hotel room associated with Barry Morphew. The FBI hadn't spoken with the worker who provided this information to me until just recently, after numerous times trying to contact CBI. I am aware that CBI has spoken with another worker for the general contractor. The worker I spoke with doesn't believe the FBI has visited the general contractor headquarters in Indiana for questioning. EA Outdoor Services LLC did send a crew at the end of May and August to redo the walls, which is what you see today. But here is a picture dated May 28th of the same wall Morgan, Jeffrey, Cassidy worked on the Monday and Tuesday following Mother's Day. This was taken by the geotech inspector. You can see the backfill behind the wall is removed. My source said that the subcontractor did remove the backfill behind both walls, but they did not remove the original footing. The footing goes below the first course of the block under the wall. It is supposed to be a compacted base. It's like a foam to help the wall from falling forward. This worker described it as a trench in the ground 1 foot deep and 2 feet wide, and he tells me it hasn't come out till this day, and it hasn't been searched either to his knowledge. He said, quote, "I would have hoped that they, being CBI, would have brought the dogs and checked it, but I don't know if they did that. I don't believe they did. They never looked to my knowledge in that area. He thinks they need to go back if they haven't." Again, since the job had mostly been completed in that area, there were no cameras looking at the wall at that time. Typically, the general contractor would put up a construction monitoring system on a pole, but it was removed before Mother's Day. So therefore, there were no pictures or video of work being done on Sunday. The status of EA Outdoor Services LLC was under delinquent status with the Colorado Secretary of State since September 2019. The status of Barry's business, Sunset Farms LLC, was also delinquent at the time of fixing the wall. It had been delinquent since January 1st of 2020. Barry cured his delinquent status on May 25th, just after the FBI dug up the property east of Salida for 3 days. So another question I had was, did Barry get paid for the wall job? I was told the total of both walls were about a $70,000 gig, and Morgan told me that the one they worked on to fix was a $30,000 job, which is the exact amount on the permit. I was told that Barry never invoiced for the work, but paid Morgan and Jeffrey. My source told me that Barry delegated his work to the original crew back in October of 2019 and didn't take an active role in that job, but on allegedly Mother's Day, he did, working all day alone. My source said, quote, "None of it made any sense at the time, and it does not today." That's the latest scoop with Lauren Scharf. If you have more questions, post them below and I'll try to answer them. Or if you were a witness to the work Barry did on the wall Sunday, please comment below too. Let's keep this conversation going and help find Suzanne. If you liked this video or didn't, let me know. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Ooh-wee. She is very, very, very thorough. Whew. Okay, so I need the cliff notes of this because I honestly am completely lost. I mean, this girl has done her research, absolutely, but wow. Okay, so are we to assume that she is stating something about this wall, that it was like redone? Is that what happened? My God, I just realized I am starving. So what is the deal? Yeah, Lawn Pro, I want to know. LLC, that's all I heard was LLC. What's the deal? Corey says, I think her point is that the CBI needs to investigate the wall, take some dogs there. He built a wall when he wasn't supposed to. Okay. What up, Princess in San Fran? I feel like I need to take a deep breath too. Let's all take a nice breath in our nose and exhale. Get all that Lauren Sharf tension out of our bodies. Okay, she's saying the cameras that watched the work were removed before the wall went up. I saw somebody say that maybe he chopped her up and put her there. He said he worked on Sunday, but didn't the one guy say that he left on Sunday? And something about, did he have to have a permit to work on the wall on Sunday? All right, I have another video from Natalie Tisdall. Yeah, I don't know why they're not searching this wall. I don't really understand. Like, what are the cops doing? Are they not following up on all these leads that these reporters are turning up? I don't get it. Is this what's going on? I mean, I really haven't heard a lot behind the scenes. So I might be missing a piece of this puzzle. I'm not sure. Man, I'm not sure. So he wasn't supposed to work on Sunday without a permit, but he did. He built the wall, then sent his workers home early. And when the other worker van to the hotel he stayed in, he smelled bleach. So Jason's saying that he thinks Barry is in with the police. So is this like a good old boys? Tracker says she's hinting around the wall was only an alibi for Barry's whereabouts the day Suzanne went missing, hence the reasoning for not being equipped for the job. I'm not getting a permit that day. I agree, Four Sons Mom. I think this is all about money. Yeah, that whole story confused me. My brain is still kind of swirling. So let's watch Natalie from KWGN. Maybe this will make more sense to me.
At this point in the proceeding, the requirement that the defendants receive a fair trial is better served by consistent pretrial rulings, which would help avoid the inconsistent verdicts discussed in Zafiro. In Bruton versus the United States, the Supreme Court stated that joint trials conserve state funds, diminish inconvenience to witnesses and public authorities, and avoid delay.
Suzanne Morphew. We have learned that a private dive team is coming to Colorado to search bodies of water between Salida and Denver. I spoke with the head of the team about their efforts and how they got involved with the case.
You want to see us get a Mustang out of the river today?
We first start with sonar in a lot of these locations to, scan it, side scan, down scan, 360. And if we identify something, then we suit up and then we get in the water and then we investigate even further to identify, yes, 100%.
Back window's open. Body's still in the driver's seat.
Jared Lysick and his team from Adventures with Purpose. They're headed to Colorado to help in the search for Suzanne Morphew. Lysick specializes in water recovery. He has a massive following online through his YouTube channel.
We do have 18 million viewers a month and a lot of them are law enforcement. And we have a lot of law enforcement that has reached out. Hey, if you need a liaison, if you want to come to our state, our town, our community, we welcome you.
Hi, Doc.
The team travels across the country, diving and recording video, recovering hundreds of cars, guns, boats, and much more. Just this week, finding the body and the car of a missing person in Iowa.
We go into every day with here's where we're at today. What's the mission? And we just make the best use of our tools at that moment in time.
And now, nearly 6 months after Suzanne Morphew went missing near her home in Salida, a renewed effort and a new focus.
One of the things that people keep coming back to is, Barry. Barry was wet. He had the hotel room. There's 3 ponds that are near that. We're also dealing with, mine shafts. We're also dealing with some of the hunting grounds.
Well, hopefully they will be successful. Jared says that they couldn't do these searches without you two.
Am I the only one that's been living under a rock and has never heard of this group? Whoops. I'm not the only one echoing. I've never heard of them. Adventures with Purpose. So they've helped on other cases. And what would be interesting, I don't know if you guys followed the Drew Peterson case, in the case of his missing wife, Stacy Peterson, not to be confused with Scott. But I did have Drew Peterson's son on for an interview a few months back. But his wife that is still missing, the sister believes they use sonar, and she believes that her sister is in this lake in a barrel in Lake Michigan. I wonder if they could get in touch with her sister. Wouldn't that be something? I will definitely check out their YouTube. If one of the mods want to put their link up in chat. So they're not disclosing, obviously, where they're searching for Suzanne, but they are on their way. I'm assuming, because this is a new video, they are on their way out to Colorado. They connected with Tube Crime and Draper Brothers. Cool. I love them. They do such a great job. So I bet that'll be an amazing team. Adventures with Purpose. Okay, there's the link. I will. I'm going to actually give them that info. That would be really neat to get them in touch with Stacy's sister. Because I've always wondered why Stacy's sister didn't have any divers go down. Maybe she just never had the manpower. I don't know. Yeah, I stick by my original theory that I think Barry is definitely hiding something, probably a lot. That's my feeling. And I felt like that from get-go. But of course, I get jumped for it. But you know what? I'm allowed to have an opinion just like everybody else. And if I'm wrong, I'll eat crow. But that's just my gut feeling. Oh, they encourage people to reach out to local divers. Oh, okay. I was never sure. I mean, I don't know if they've never had anybody, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to help her, and I don't know. It was just something that came up in my head. I have seen videos stating that Suzanne was texting a friend Saturday evening and the conversation stopped. He had time to do what he did. Home smelled of chlorine. Thought it was the hotel room. I agree, Dave. In this case, it's the husband. I will follow them. That sounds neat. I've never heard of them. So thanks, you guys. You taught me something today. You taught me something. Oh, her brother said the home also smelled of it. See, I'm a little out of the loop on this. You really have to be following social media to get these updates because they haven't really been like strongly in the media, have they? Unless I just have been out of the loop because I've been completely 100% up to my eyeballs in Watts. Jill, why are you swearing at me, girl? Like, what's up? What are you upset about? No need to swear. No need to get all irate. Both the home and the hotel. Yeah. Bye, Sandy. Thanks for stopping in today. Yes, I watch the Draper Brothers. I do. Jill, what do you mean? What am I talking about? I don't. We're talking about Suzanne Morphew. I don't know what you mean. Do you have a specific question? I did watch her brother as well. I did watch The Searches, but that was like right up when I was doing the Watts thing, so I did kind of tune out. A girl's brain can only handle so much. Vince. So anyhow, yeah, so back to the Daybells. Maybe that's what Jill's talking about. Lori and Chad Daybell will have their trials combined that start in January. Woohoo! We will see the two lovebirds in a trial. That ought to be interesting. And they're two numbnut lawyers. So that's good news, right? We were hoping they would be combined. I'm sure Mr. Wood is happy. Oh my gosh, Boise spelled his name Barry, B-U-R-Y. Terrible. Gosh, I hope they stream some too. They'll probably, I don't know. They sure did, Brunch Mom. They both have a couple doozies, huh? Terry says, I think the honeymoon's over for Chad and Lori. Dave, you seem to think Chris Watts might have Asperger's or be on the spectrum. Hey, Megan. This is so nice. I have chat pulled up on my TV and I can read you guys up there instead of looking at my computer. Bye, baby D. It was nice seeing you, girl. Supersonic. I believe they have checked over the house, Clearview. Yeah, they're both guilty of the same crime. They both have the same exact charges. So what I was wondering is, were they like together? Because if they're being tried at the same time, I've never really, besides like, okay, I've seen like the
from living room.
Alexa, please. Not now.
That's so nice. Just ask me what you'd like me to do, and I'll try my best to help.
Okay. Thanks. So, I'm lost now. Alexa just threw me off. Oh,
Throw
yeah.
off is usually defined as get rid of.
I'm scared to talk now. Okay, I think she's done. Hey, Ken. My Ireland people are here. I love it. Always listening. I know. Okay. So, yeah, I've seen like the Menendez brothers get tried together, but that totally made sense because they did the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like they were together 100% of the time, before and after, besides when Eric, or was it Eric or Lyle, went back out to New Jersey. But I understood why they were tried together. But like, are there going to be, does this mean there's absolutely nothing different in their cases? That's what I don't know. So I'm sure that Scott Reich will do a video tonight. I love it because we always know we can count on Scott for the lawyer's aspect the evening after this kind of info comes out. Oh, hold on. I feel like my mic's messed up. You guys hear me all right? Your Alexa's in your bathroom? Do you just use it for music or something? So I'm thinking that those two schmucks were together while Alex... See, this is what I don't understand. Was Chad and Alex both pinging at the house, or just Alex? The day that Alex took JJ from the condo and Melanie was there and saw him. They were both at Chad's. But we know Lori wasn't, right? Because she was with Melanie. See, I'm confused too, Karen. I thought it was just Alex. But I'm not 100% sure on those facts. Yes. Okay, that's another thing to think about. Tammy Daybell's autopsy results came back, but they've been sealed. Right, Megan. Yeah, definitely. They're being charged with committing this. They have the exact same charges. I just wasn't sure if like anything else would, differentiate, if it would be hard for the jury to differentiate different details between the two of them, or if they were pretty much, similar. Because it's going to be interesting to see each one's defense attorney defend them at the same time. I mean, are we going to see like a bunch of contradictions? That's what's going to be so interesting. Because if Chad was at the house and he was, helping Alex, or even was just aware of what Alex was doing there, then Chad's involvement is different than Lori's. Like, if Lori wasn't there, Lori can maybe claim that she didn't know. Maybe she's going to say that Chad pulled a number on her and she had no idea where Alex took JJ and Tylee. Why do you guys think that Chad's going to roll on Lori? I think it's the other way. New screensaver? Are you talking about this picture? I know you definitely don't want to see me right now. I'm in like cleaning mode today. You don't want to see me. It doesn't matter who was there. They all knew these beautiful angels were killed and buried. Right. I just think the fact that Chad's lawyer tried to fight the combining of the trials and Lori's didn't. I think they want it to be combined, because I think she's gonna turn this on Alex and Chad. She turns everything on every man in her life. Have you noticed that? She has turned everything on every man in her life. She's destroyed every man in her life, including her oldest son. Hi, sweet crazy. She really has. She's not one to get bulldozed. She's the one bulldozing. And I think Chad was pee-whipped. I mean, look how beautiful she is. You think Chad was going to get someone that beautiful? Mm-mm. I think this girl had a plan. See, this is why this is going to be an interesting trial. No, I think she was all for it being together. She's going to bat her little doe eyes. Just wait. She's going to be in her clothes. She's going to be able to wear what she wants. She's going to bat her doe eyes. And her hair is going to be done. And this bitch going to sit there like she's innocent. Because she's always used her looks to get out of everything. And I think this is going to be where Lori hits a brick wall. I did not see that, Megan. The Miss Texas video, isn't that great? Yeah, her toilet paper curls. She's going to look the best that she can. And she's going to put on an act. And Chad's lawyer's thinking, ah, shit. If she plays the victim, we're screwed. We don't want her in the same room as us. I think this lady is the epitome of evil. She's a manipulator, and I think she's used her looks to get out of things and where she is. You guys are saying she's not that pretty. She's hot. She's what, 50 something? I mean, come on. You can't deny she's pretty. And she's used that. But now it's caught up with her. I mean, she's definitely not pretty on the inside. But she looks good. So she's, you know, I mean, you've seen the body cam. You've seen the police. They're like putty in her hands. Are you serious, Crystal? That's so weird. From what I understand, they are allowed to speak. That's what someone said. Or they were allowed to speak until they were both charged, maybe? Is that what it was? Well, yeah, of course she's going to be wrinkled because she can't get her Botox and shit, but she still is a nice looking woman. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Terry. She's the little flirt. Dave, if I woke up the next morning with my arm around her, I'd chew my arm off to sneak away. No, she's evil. She's evil. I think Lori's in her 50s, early 50s. What's up, Charles Bennett? Yes, she's done this all her life. And I have to wonder, where did she learn this behavior? Analytics is doing, this is Analytics. If you guys aren't following and you want to follow this case a lot more closely, follow the YouTube channel Analytics. It's Joe Ryan's sister. And she's doing a live tomorrow. I missed the time. It went away. Well, I don't know if it was self-taught because there's a lot of strange dynamics within that family. especially with her being able to manipulate Alex like she did. And I really think she manipulated Alex. Oh, she's 48. Oh, she's only a year older than me. Well, she has a nicer body than me, I can tell you that much. I'd take it. Thank you, Edie Ruth. Thank you for your support. Very much appreciated. Thank you, you guys, all the members who joined during the live today. I didn't get a chance to say anything because we were playing the videos, but thank you so much for joining. If you see the members in chat, they are the color green. We have a sea of green. Oh, thanks, Ken. But I definitely don't have Lori's bad. Don't have Lori's bad. Yeah, I'm not sure. Thank you, Lawn Pro. I'm not sure. Yes, we do have a trial date. It's, let me look at Mission Control Board. She's very fake looking, but isn't that what men like? I mean, watch TV. Watch any of these shows on TV. They look like Lori. Fake. I just think that's what men are like. That's what catches their eye, you know? I do have freedom. You're so right. You're so right. I have an angel soul in comparison. Thanks. I hope so. Yes, like a Barbie. Daniel says, I love fake beauty. See, most men don't give a shit if it's fake or real. They just like the eye candy. So, you know, this is a conversation that I love talking about these kinds of things. And I love now that I have more men in chat. Literally my percentage this past month and a half went from like 8% men to a whopping 20%. Woo! All the males in chat. Fist pump you. Seriously, I love having more men. So on my other channel, which is called What's the 411 with Jay, we're going to start doing lives on different and videos on different topics, like not just crime. So it'll be cool. Do I know why what is, Susan? Ken Dalton, I'm here for the crime and the beautiful ladies. Well, you came to the right place, Ken. Oh, her voice. She talks like a baby. Oh God, I want to smack her. I love you too, Daniel Hutchison. I almost said Hutchinson. There's no N. Why do I have more men following? I think it's because of the Chris Watts case. There was an influx of people from the Chris Watts case. So I think it's men from there, but I hope they stick around. Look at this. I've got Charles. I've got Dave. I've got Daniel. Look at all these guys. Yeah, it is really interesting. I think it was the Netflix that brought the influx of people. And you know what? While we're talking, I made some really oh, look at Jimmy John's. It's a sandwich shop, but I think you're a guy too. But yeah, I love getting the male perspectives, especially when we do these cases. So anyway, I'm not Zalima. No, I think that Summer, it was a woman's following. But I think because of Netflix, it opened it up to everybody because everybody pretty much has a Netflix subscription. So I think that's where the more males came in. Now, Dave, you came for the Watts case. Daniel, are you serious? I've never had Botox either. Oh, James. James isn't a guy. But we have quite a few dudes in here. Yeah, and every time I see Jimmy John's, I want to get a sub. I love the veggie sub with sprouts. But anyway, does someone want to throw up the 411 channel? I'm getting the court date for you too, whoever asked. Sorry. It's raining men. Hallelujah, Alexandra. He came for the Watson. He stayed for Valo. Okay, Chad Daybell trial date is... Oh, shoot. January 11th. Don't you dress like that when cleaning? What? Oh, yes. There was the 411. What's the 411, hon? Okay, so Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell's trial date is January the 11th. 1/11. Dre, 1/11. Weird. 1/11/21. Lawn Pro. Okay, you guys, gals, look. To a real man, we pride ourselves on providing and protecting our families. Let me go back. I like that. And especially the women we love. That's why the Watts and this Chad thing is so unreal. Oh, I missed the 411 video. It was a little more relaxed without the YouTube police. We can let the hair down. Yes, we're going to do shows like, Dre and I have already talked about, we're going to do like reaction show where we play each other reaction videos. Yeah, some of you guys did subscribe to the 411, but we have a lot of newbies. Dave doesn't think that Chris Watts put the kids in the oil drums. Wow, who do you guys think put the kids in the oil drums if it wasn't him? I'm interested to know. If you guys are just joining, we did play the hearing a little bit earlier. Lori and Chad Daybell will be tried together. I'm just wondering who you think did it if it wasn't Chris. You think he met someone at 319? Do you think it was a coworker? Are you one of those that believes Troy had something to do with it? I don't say one of those, like I'm not saying that bitchy. I'm sorry. That came out bitchy. Charles, who do you think he might have met there? The Jimmy John's in Chillicothe, Ohio gives meals for homeless this week. How nice. Just someone. Are you saying Nicole? Jim. Do we know if Chris Watts even ever met Jim? Did he ever even meet Jim? Bellshell, you missed a lot. You're going to have to be kind and rewind. I agree, Dave. It's very, very hard to comprehend him doing that. It's just so bizarre, you guys. Leave Jim alone. Okay, so my question, I had something that popped in my head last night. Why didn't Shanann have any marks on her neck. If Chris was in a huge rage and he strangled her so hard that she passed out probably within, let's say, 15 seconds, she was unconscious. Why does she not have any marks on her neck? And I'll tell you where I'm going with this in a second. Because if he was raged, but still, if she was drugged, why doesn't she have any marks on her neck? Now, this is what Chrissy, yes, this is what I'm thinking. Remember how he keeps talking about her makeup, her mascara smeared down her face, and he said it was from crying? But then we saw like the pillowcase had all that makeup smeared all over it. And it wasn't just mascara. It was like shimmery, like, yes, it just came in my head. It did. It just came in my head. Because we've always heard she was strangled and I never like questioned it. Well, that's great that you thought about that a long time ago. That never popped in my head. But I'm wondering about that pillowcase. Her eye makeup was on there. It was like shimmery, like eyeshadow. Exactly. Why was that bone not broken? I know she slept in her makeup that night. But does it matter? So to some people it does. To some people the truth matters. For sure. Especially when our tax dollars are paying for his 3 squares and a roof over his head for the rest of his life. Yeah, it does matter. So I'm just wondering why she didn't have any marks. Right, and he didn't have any marks. So I guess maybe like if he smothered her with the pillowcase, that would be why he wouldn't have any marks. But I've seen autopsy pictures of strangulations and there's always marks. Did Nicole have any marks? I don't know. Speaking of Nicole Kessinger and all of these theories surrounding her, I wanted to make mention of something. Lisa, I've thought maybe the same thing too. That maybe he killed her while she was asleep. But anyway, there's another channel. Hi, Janice. There's another channel that has brought up, you know, obviously you guys have seen the Chris Watts tape of the phone call where he talks to the private eye. And you guys have all heard that. And Anna was on that call. Well, this other YouTube channel keeps speaking out about how I shouldn't, you know, how I've done wrong and I shouldn't be, you know, bringing Anna into it. Da 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 da. Well, all of this speculation around NK is just as unfair. If you go by their rules and they think we shouldn't talk about Anna and her involvement with Chris and coming and saying that things are lies when they're not, isn't their speculation just as bad on NK? Considering that she was cleared, if we shouldn't talk about Anna, then I guess that series on NK probably needs to be taken off YouTube because it's very contradictory and very hypocritical, honestly. Sneaky hoe. Charles Bennett, tell me how you really feel. Yeah, absolutely, we can speculate. And I'm on that. I don't believe we can't. But, you know, it's like, yeah, practice what you preach. When you're going to go and make videos and try to discredit me and make me sound like a liar and unethical for talking about something that's true, and someone that inserted themselves into a high profile case, and now they want to cry, oh, I'm getting threats and this and that. Lauren Elizabeth wants to know, are Anna and Chris dating? I guess they supposedly no, they don't talk anymore. That's the story. But I don't know if you can really date when you're in prison. But the visitor logs came out from last year, and we do know that Anna exceeded her visit amounts. Yeah, she is married. She's married. She was separated. Don't know what's going on there anymore. Don't really care, to be honest. But do I believe that she doesn't speak to CW? Hell no. I really don't believe it. Sorry, I just don't. You don't go from that hot and heavy, especially when you're Chris and you get all, intertwined with these women and you fall for them and you're one-track mind. I don't believe it, but whatever. But, if I can't talk about the truth and talk about Anna, then I don't think that these YouTubers should be speculating about someone who was never charged. Gosh. Look in the mirror before you go criticizing people. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We've talked about 3 different cases during the course of this live. 4. Scott Peterson. So I don't think they've decided yet if he's getting a new trial. It's still up in the air. We're going back on November the 6th. But yeah, I thought that theory was a little bit interesting, that there was no marks on Shanann, and that makeup always bothered me because I've slept in makeup, but that was a lot of makeup. Yes, Luce, what was it they said? Oh, do you guys want her to break down? Do you want her to lose her shit? Really? This NK had to change her freaking name. And they have a series about her. How fair is that? I am super excited. I hope Scott Peterson gets a new trial. A, I think he deserves one. B, I think that Rochelle Neese needs to be held accountable for how she fucked it up. And that's how I feel. Just putting it out there. So there. That's that. Oh, I don't know if I want to say their channel name. They know who they are. And if you watch them, you'll know who they are. They're very unfair and they're very, very fake. I can't tell you how many people I've hosted on my channel and then found out how fake they were. And they just wanted to get in front of you guys. They just want to get in front of you guys. Dave says the reason why there's so much speculation over NK, and then my TV goes to screensaver, is she didn't get to answer tough questions. Yeah. She deleted things. She deleted everything off her phone. Do you guys remember? I don't remember when she said she deleted it, but was it after their bodies were found? If it is, that really bothers me because she knew this was a criminal investigation. But I really do think that she just, those pictures were raunchy. Their text messages were raunchy. And she didn't want anybody to see that stuff. How embarrassing. I mean, she had nudes on there. I don't know. I don't think she had any part in the murders. That's what I think. And I know a lot of people think that she was there and this and that. I mean, it is suspect that her phone pinged in Frederick that morning. My computer just did something really weird. I was cleaning the screen and it went black. Can you guys still hear me? My computer totally went black. Froze. Yeah, they don't recall the 111-minute phone call. A lot of suspect things. But why do you guys think that he knew Jim? And I don't think that the CBI and the FBI would have let her get away. I think we look kind of dumb when we think that in a case like this where 2 children and a mother ended up dead, that the FBI of all agencies aren't smarter than some YouTubers who did their series and studied a document that they only got 75% of. I just don't think she's involved. I think she's unlucky for having an affair with a married man who made this decision that it was easier for him than facing a divorce to go off and kill his wife. But I mean, really think about it. The FBI, I mean, are we saying that the FBI is incompetent when it comes to a simple crime committed by one man? It just doesn't make any sense. So let's make 12 videos about it. You have to remember, we didn't get 25% of the discovery. 25% of that discovery is redacted. So now what? How do we know there's not more in there about NK? How do we know she wasn't investigated thoroughly? I do question CBI and Weld County's ethics in a sense, not NK related. Why would they go out there? Yeah, why would they go out to Wisconsin? I don't know. I don't know. I can't make sense of that. The FBI doesn't have enough evidence enough to prosecute NK. I don't think they ever looked at NK as anything other than a witness to Chris Watts' crap. Oh, what did Crystal say? Oh, why are we still talking about this? I'll have to scroll up. Oh, the Watts case is solved and the right person is in jail. Oh, that's her opinion. Well, I just don't think it's a big conspiracy. I think the bigger conspiracy is the fact that Shanann's family has covered up like what her past really was and who she really is. I mean, I think that's more of a conspiracy than NK, to be honest. I mean, if NK was out asking for money and like, you know, profiting from this murder, these murders, then I would be like, what the hell? But I think that a huge conspiracy is, why can't we know all about Shanann? I mean, what's the big secret? There's Dave. Troy is one of Chris Watt's coworkers. Well, I mean, it's been a shit show, I think, since this happened on social media. And a lot of you people that have found this case via Netflix, you know what? I want to take a little poll in chat. Oh, everybody wants to know more. Dre, we're going to have to get together and do a live, because I need to bounce things off of somebody. I can't. No one's saying she deserved it. No one said she deserved to be killed by Chris Watts. No one's saying that. If I see that in chat, I'm going to delete you, because that should go without saying. We should all be, hi, Robbie. We should all be of the mindset that no one ever deserves to be killed. We should just be under that mindset. That should go without saying. If you have to come in here and you have to say, well, she didn't deserve it. Does anyone ever deserve it? If you think that someone deserves it, then you might want to exit chat, because I really don't want to mingle with you, because that's a little strange thinking. I mean, I want to put a disclaimer up and put, it goes without saying that no one deserves to be murdered. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, with that being said, there's a lot of people that are new to this crime, to checking out this crime. So what I want to do is take a little poll, because I know there's some OGs that have followed this case since the beginning, and there's some newbies that just found it from Netflix. So put a 1 in chat if you discovered this case via Netflix. Put a 2 in chat if you discovered it before Netflix. Michelle, I don't think she really talked about being pregnant because he wasn't happy. Mainly 2s. If you found this case via Netflix, hit a 1. Dave. Oh my God, there's no one in here that found it from Netflix. Interesting. Okay, are you new to chatting about the case? Karen's new. Okay. You found it through us. Wow. The reason I ask is because I think it's so interesting, how people discover this case really affects their initial thoughts on everything that's come out. And we've never had a trial. So we've never had... Wow, thank you so much, Lauren. That's amazing. She's been following my channel for the past 2 years. I love seeing all you guys coming out of the woodwork and chatting. Crime powwow, rewind, be kind and rewind. We did the hearing in the beginning. Jesus. I love Schitt's Creek. Yeah, it is. You guys are all OGs. And I just find that the way that everybody found out about it. So if you look back now, when we found it all on social media, oh my gosh, Carla Wren, I've been here since Murder Rap Sesh, and you're still here today. God bless you, Carla. God bless you, Carla. Well, Charles, you're doing really good at the chatting stuff. But yeah, I think Dre, we should go live and talk about all of these different things that have come out, and talk about it and take questions in chat, because a lot of you guys don't know a lot of the background, is what I'm guessing. Irish Eyes, you're dead right. I watched it on Netflix with someone who had never heard of the case, and I could not believe their reaction and their views on Shanann. I'm curious, what were their reactions? Megan, yeah, I think last year for sure. I hope that our timeline broke it down, yes. And we did put a lot of the things in the timeline. Hi, Gwen. We did put a lot of things in the timeline, the Nutgate. We've talked about the friends that we never knew who they were. I mean, I wondered for 2 years who these people were. I was so excited when I found it, man. They thought he was guilty just for saying he had no inclination. Thanks, Cal. I really try to keep up with everybody. I absolutely do. I didn't know that there was a positive or a negative test for lupus. Just like fibro, I think it's more of like a rule everything out type of thing. Thanks, Charles. Hey, Steven. I live in Colorado and saw CW's porch interview live and had him for the murders right then. Shifty eyes, a little smug. See, I didn't. And I'll admit that. When I saw him on the porch, I did not think that he was guilty. My immediate thought was not, oh, this guy did it. But what I did do was immediately went and searched up their social media, like lots of other people did. And then I spent, I don't even want to admit probably how much time and hours I spent watching all of her videos on Facebook. Thank you, Brieg. Oh, they do a blood test for lupus? I don't think it's like foolproof though. I think it's hard to establish a diagnosis. Sorry, I'm getting a drink. A diagnosis for lupus and fibro, from what I've been told. I don't have any experience with it though, so I can't say from experience. But I think that those types of diseases are a lot about ruling things out as well. A lot of you thought he was guilty right away. No tears or even puffy eyes. Isn't that crazy though to think about when he stood on that porch? Thanks, Linda. You guys are so sweet. When he stood on that porch and he said, I want them to come back. I had to stay here last night. What did he say? It was hard being here last night. And that he slept with all the lights on. There's no victim bashing going on in here. You got the wrong chat if you think victim bashing's going on in here.
Playing from living room.
Awesome, Jana. But isn't it crazy to think about when he was telling the world that he had a hard time in the house and all of that stuff? That night before, he had spent cleaning, putting all their stripping down the kids' beds. What else did he do? Got rid of the book. I mean, he spent that night disposing of their things and cleaning up whatever he needed to clean up. But then he didn't stay there the second night. He stayed with the Thayers. But that night, that first night, I just can't imagine him being in there alone all night long after doing that. It's just crazy to me. So fucking crazy. And since we're talking about them, I'm going to actually pull a picture up so people know what the hell we're talking about. You know that house if you follow this case. Oh, yes, he sent the text messages to her phone. He did laundry. But can you believe, I mean, what did he do all night long? That is so creepy. Oh, when he finds her wedding ring and he comes out of the bedroom and acts all puzzled to Nicole. Oh, I found her wedding ring was on her table, or on her nightstand. Well, you know, it's funny because I think that when a woman is missing and the husband talks, we're always so skeptical. And I've learned to try to not be so skeptical. Yeah, he definitely took it off her hand. Definitely took it off her hand. He was going to probably pawn it. It was a $10,000 ring. But lots of dynamics led up to this. And if you see that as victim bashing, you know, basically studying their dynamics, I'm not sure how much true crime you actually watch. Because like I said, I'm definitely not going to have to keep saying no one deserves to be killed. Because no one with the right mind should have to say that. It's ridiculous. It's redonkulous. Yep, I think that's what he grabbed out of her Lexus. I don't think the house sold. It's owned by the bank and it's just sitting. I agree. Kathy, that's my next mask. If you guys haven't seen my masks, I have an Etsy store. And I have like a series of masks. I'm coming out with the new one and that's what it says. The husband did it. But I should probably make one that says the wife did it. To be fair, you're right. I will definitely do that. But the Etsy store, it should be updated. What's today, Thursday? It'll be updated by tomorrow with the new masks. And then I'm also going to roll out some t-shirts. Oh, okay, Crystal. I know, but typically my people here don't bash. I mean, if what they're saying is true, it's not bashing. That's the way I look at it. If what they're saying is true, it's not bashing. It's just factual. And when we follow a case, We want facts. We want to know everything. We want to know the background. I mean, with Ted Bundy's case, we didn't just go, oh, okay. So when he was 25 or whatever, he went on a killing spree. We don't care what happened before he was 25. It doesn't matter what happened before he was 25. All that matters is from the first time he killed that girl, the first girl, until he went and was electrocuted. Who gives a shit about what happened before? You would never think that way. You want to know what in the hell happened before this first incident that made this happen. And why lie about it? Why can't we talk about their lives before it happened? Why can't Cindy Watts be honest and say, you know what? I didn't care for her. We didn't get along most of the time. Why can't she be honest without being bashed? She didn't kill anyone. Get out of here, Lisa. Ted Bundy had dinner at my friend's house with her dad, who is into politics here in Seattle. That's nuts. Exactly, Chrissy. That's, you know what? That's a great motto. Facts over feelings. I don't think that Cindy Watts needs to sit and tell anybody a lie. If they didn't get along, they didn't get along. Why do you guys want to be lied to about it? You want her, then if she lies, then y'all are going to be like, what a liar. What a fake. Da 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 da. Wow, Stacy, a train derailed by my workplace, so they've evacuated us, but not sorry I'm home watching Jay. Wow. So I hope everybody's okay. But we can also look at Cindy Watts as his mom. We can look at Ronnie Watts as his dad. And we can look at the dynamics. And who wouldn't want to stand up for their child? Irish Eyes, watching the documentary with someone who was new to the case, opened my eyes to the dynamics of their relationship in a whole new way. In what way, Irish? In what way? I'm curious. Oh, Charles. But Chrissy, you said it well, and facts over feelings. But everybody's dynamics are important. Stephen, come on. You think that really his mom was pumping him to kill her? No. Come on. That's stretching. Well, did they see the dynamics as like in a bad way? Like, oh God, these people, she filmed her whole life. Because my sister-in-law watched it. She'd never heard of Chris Watts. Didn't even know who he was. She texted me one day. Oh, thank you, Lisa. 1111. You're my lucky number, too. Thank you so much for your support. But my sister-in-law watched it. Yes, Lynn. Yes, Lynn, I do. Hold that thought. Dre, remind me to talk about those calls, the Watts tapes. Now I lost my train of thought on the other thing. Now I forgot completely what I was freaking saying. You guys are chatting up, man. Let me scroll back so I can... I hope Dre's still here. The Etsy store is J is for Justice, 4 Sons. Yes. Let's see. I know we were talking about Cindy. We were talking about dynamics of the family. Yes, supporting. Oh, my sister-in-law. Okay, thank you. Gosh. So she had never heard of Chris Watts. And she texted me and she's like, I'm looking for something to watch on Netflix. I said, watch the Chris Watts documentary. She said, who? Thank you, Charles. Hope to see you soon. Thanks for your support, bud. And she said, who's that? And I said, just watch it. I said, watch it and hit me up when you're done. So, of course, she started texting me during, and I didn't read her text until it was over. So I went back and I was reading what she said, and she was like, oh my God, this woman recorded her entire life. And, you know, just really, Beverly? I didn't know I was on your payroll, Beverly. But anyways, she saw a lot of things too I was surprised about. She thought that the social media thing was way overboard. Be good, sister. Cindy has controlled and manipulated CW's whole life. Could not stand up when SW is. No, I don't necessarily agree with that, Stephen, but my point was what happened in their lives prior to the murders is so very important to me. And I think that judging Cindy is wrong at this juncture, because we don't know what it would be like if Chris Watts was our kid. And to throw shade at Cindy Watts for being honest, I mean, what did you, I just don't get it. What do you want her to say? I loved her. We got along. So the Ruseks could come out and say, no, she didn't. She hated her. I mean, she can't win. And let me tell you, from what I hear, and I don't know if this will make a difference, but if you guys have such a big heart for Shanann's family, I'm asking you to take maybe 5% of that big heart you have for them. And when I tell you that I've heard from a family friend that Cindy Watts is not well. She's not well. And they're all very worried about her. So take that into consideration too. Just take 5% of that big heart for the ones who were killed, their families. And take 5% of that love and that empathy, and put it towards the killer's family. And how in the hell they are supposed to put this together and move on. How in the hell do you do that? You know? So stop. Stop bashing her, man. And the people that bash her are so quick to, be on the NK train. Let's bash Cindy Watts for being honest, but then let's drag this NK girl into the mud when she was cleared by the FBI. No one knows what it was like in their homes. No one knows what it was like growing up in either one of their homes. She might be a piece of work. I don't know her. She might be. I'm a fucking piece of work. But you know what? She's honest. And you know what? These people can't pick up their lives and go on. They're not living. They're not living. And they still have other grandchildren. And they have another daughter. And they're not living. So all of the families, everyone, it's awful. I have two boys. I have a granddaughter. And when I think about I revealed in one of the videos that Chris did not talk to them for 2 hours. I'm sorry, I was reading chat. 2 years. My bad. 2 years. And they got back in touch.
From living room.
They got back in touch when Shanann was Dre changed her name. When they got back in touch, it was because Shanann was pregnant with Bella. And I'm sure Cindy was thrilled. She was going to be a grandma again. You see pictures of Cindy and Ronnie with those kids. They love those kids. They didn't want those kids gone. And you know what? You guys can agree with me all you want. No one wanted this to happen. And it's not easy being a mother-in-law. But you know what? I have a granddaughter now. And I've tried to put myself in Cindy Watt's shoes and think, if that was my son, what would I do? What the hell would I do? I don't know. And I think that it's a lot easier to have compassion for Shanann's family because it's obvious you're going to. I mean, God, you know, their daughter was killed. Their grandchildren are gone. They lived for those grandchildren. That is almost like saying, it goes without saying that the Ruseks are victims that have suffered the greatest loss of their daughter and their granddaughters. I think I would still love my son. So that brings me to the Watts tapes. First of all, when I watched those, I thought there was going to be like things in there, maybe talked about the case or something. Wait, let me just say one more thing before I get to the tapes. When we have children, we have like hopes and dreams and aspirations for our children. And now Ronnie and Cindy, I just can't imagine, especially Ronnie being a dad who got him into, I'm not reading chat right now because, yes, thank you, Dre, for putting that up. She loved those girls. But Dre. But there's so many unanswered questions, but those unanswered questions have answers if you look into the past. So, yeah, I mean, now Cindy and Ronnie have to not only come to terms with the fact that their son that they raised, you know, Ronnie raised him, you know, this kid looked up to his dad. He was enamored by his dad. He was his best friend. And now this dad has to live with the fact that his son annihilated his family. And he's in prison for life. Right? So they got to digest. The son we raised did this. My flesh and blood did this. That's one thing that's hard enough to even accept, I would think. The second thing that they have to accept, and they have to, you know, probably have guilt. Where did we go wrong? What did we do? Was there something we could have done different? You know, those things go through their minds. So accepting that would be hard, number one. Then you have a brutal murder of two of your grandchildren. That would be hard to accept. Very hard to accept that they're gone, right? They're babies. That would be so hard to accept, the loss of two children. But not only that, Then on top of that grief and shock, they have to accept that their son was responsible for all of it. How in the hell do you piece that together? And piece it together in 2 years? How can you ever accept that? When we go through trauma and we go through things like that, I've seen it firsthand. My son is an accident survivor. I know a lot about PTSD, and not PTSD of soldiers. I don't have any experience with that, but PTSD is real. It's real for all those people who had to go to Servi and pull little girls out of oil tanks and dig up pregnant women. It's real for everybody. And it's real for the Watts. To say it isn't just because they didn't get along is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And if you think that all those emotions, just because they're different emotions for both families, doesn't mean that they're both not hurting. I mean, do you think Cindy Watts is jumping out of bed, getting her hair done, getting her nails done, and feeling good about herself? Doubt it. I know for a fact she's not. They're in a living hell. They're in a standstill. They're in this standstill of a living hell that they don't know how to get out of. And they've tried. They've tried to talk to people who say they want to help them. We want to help you. You know, we'll get your story out. We'll make you look, you know, we'll reverse the stupid interview you did when you were in complete and utter shock. And you told the truth because you didn't think they were a good match. She didn't think their dynamics were good together. She was right. She couldn't have predicted this, but she knew her son, and she got to know Shanann, and she knew they weren't good together. And these people that are making, yes, Dre, thank you. These people that are making videos about Cindy, titling her in these videos saying, did she help make a murderer? Are you freaking kidding me? It's crazy. And then you have Shanann's brother sharing these videos and telling people to watch them and saying, this is great. Couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, talk about throwing fuel on a fire that is already blazing and has been blazing for 2 years for these families. Why? I sound like NK. Why? Why? It's very frustrating, Dave. It's been 2 years that I've been watching this go down. And I'm telling you, man, it's not Cindy's fault. It's not the Russek's fault. It's not Frankie's fault that he's sharing videos that are totally inappropriate and hurtful. He's grieving. They're all grieving. And the Watts have stayed quiet. They really have, but they've had these crazies come in. Look at Anna. Anna comes in on the scene. I'm a Christian. I minister to prisoners. Let's talk about this. Dre, we're going to have to cut this live up and put it into a video later. I just lost my train of thought again because I'm reading all of your... No, I'm not a good speaker because I always forget. Anna, we were talking about Anna. Yeah, so they get all these crazies that come in, right? Under the vise of we want to help you. So we have Anna. Let's talk about Anna. She comes on the scene, right? no one really knows that Anna's been following this case since it broke. No one knows when she comes on the scene to the Watts that she was obsessively following this case from day one. So obsessively that her Facebook showed videos of her husband on the floor with their baby, her taking videos around that time of the murders with her husband all playing like Chris Watts. She clearly watched all of Shanann's videos. She did some MLM marketing videos, some makeup tutorial videos. Her looks changed over the past 2 years. When she came onto the Watts scene, she came on and said, you know what? I minister to prisoners. And I just happen to live in Wisconsin. I just happen to live in Wisconsin. I'm telling you who Anna is. So she comes on the scene, gets to know Chris's sister and the family friends who were outspoken about the case, gets in with them, brings her husband along. They're quote unquote Christians. Starts visiting him. Visiting. We found out that social media, Charlotte. Social media. She was following the case before they even knew who she was. So she lives close to the prison. She says, I can minister to your son and I can visit him. And they're thinking, Cindy's probably thinking as a mother, God, she's probably worried. First of all, my first concern would be my son's going to kill himself. And you never, ever want your child to kill themselves. Regardless of what's going on, you don't want your child to kill themselves. Because I'm sure she had like the guilt, like, oh God, I'm glad that Chris is here. But then she had the guilt where, oh my God, they don't have their daughter, which was the same feelings. My son was an accident survivor and his girlfriend didn't make it. So whenever I talked to his girlfriend's mom, which we talked all the time, I felt so guilty because I still had my son and she didn't have her daughter. But then I felt so happy that I had him. And I felt so bad. It was such like contradictory feelings that I felt. Sometimes all in the same day. It's crazy. So I can imagine that Cindy has a little bit of that feeling too. Just because she's not telling everyone doesn't mean she doesn't. I'm not even going to look at chat because I know you guys don't think she gave a shit. But I'm telling you, these people are just down-home country people. I've seen their home videos. They had family gatherings just like we did. It wasn't a messed up household. And that's what's so perplexing. But at any rate, I just think we need to go easy. Brooklyn, she may have wanted her son to have a different life. He wasn't happy. He was cheating. Things were bad. There's another baby on the way. She probably was like, oh my God, this is not going to end well for you, Chris. This is not going to end well for you, Chris. But to sit here and think that this woman wanted Shanann dead. I mean, look at the Watts financials. Let's talk about the financials. And that's why it's so important to go back. It's not about bashing. It's about looking into everything. So I got to go back to Anna. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Damn it. Okay, so this Anna comes in. She says, I'm going to minister to him, blah, blah, blah. She gets to know them. So she gets on the visitor list because he has to put, I'm not talking about the wedding. I'm not talking about Nutgate. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm going to finish up on Anna here because I want to get that out. And then I want to talk about the tapes. So Anna says, I'm going to visit him, blah, blah, blah. He puts her on the list. The family tells him, oh, this Anna girl, like she had written him like one letter or something. I don't even know if he wrote her back, but I think the family was actually the one that said, hey, this Anna, she lives nearby. She's going to be able to see you. I think she was afraid when you watch the tapes. She doesn't want him to kill himself. Cindy doesn't want Chris to kill himself. So here's this Anna. She's local. She's going to go. She's going to talk about the Bible. They believed her. They took her at face value. So Anna starts visiting Chris. And lo and behold, Anna falls in love with Chris. I think you're wrong. I don't think Cindy was controlling whatsoever. I think she really kind of tiptoed because she didn't want to lose Chris. But she did lose her son for 2 years. Shanann forbid him to talk to his family for 2 whole years. Undecided, we've already talked about that. I'm not going there again. So back to the tapes. How did I feel when I watched them? I felt like I shouldn't. Chrissy, you have a great, safe trip. Love you. But you don't know what led up to her not going to the wedding. You just know, oh, she didn't go. You can't make a judgment off that, off a final action, without having all the facts. So I felt like I was watching a conversation, like I was eavesdropping. I didn't feel like I really should have watched those calls. I felt like they were very private. I feel like they were very raw moments for them, being the first time that they're seeing him after the murders. I think they were all reeling. I think they were nervous. I think Jamie and Ronnie appeared very nervous, not quite really knowing what to say. Dr. Phil, who cares what Dr. Phil thinks? Who's Dr. Phil? He's not even a doctor. He's not even a damn doctor.
Playing from living room.
He has like an associate's degree in social work. He's not a freaking doctor. And I don't care what he thinks. Thanks, Cynthia. The Finn. My mother didn't go to my brother's wedding. 30 years later, they still don't like one another, and my brother never killed anyone. Good point. The main aspects of human behavior. What, would you ever do a live about that and crime by chance? Sure. I'm telling you, as a mother-in-law, like you're at their mercy, man. I'm just lucky to have a good daughter-in-law. If I didn't, I could see where things could be bad. Cindy Gale, what's bullcrap? But yeah, those tapes were just very awkward. And I thought there was going to be some chatter about his plea or anything like that. I mean, I know I was told way back when that when they went there to talk, they were told not to speak about the plea. They were not allowed to talk about the plea. Yes, Amy P. They are being tried together. So I just felt like those were like private moments. And yes, Dre, the ashes. They were talking about the grandmother's ashes that Chris had in the urn, and he thought it was on the dresser. And I don't know if they ever got those ashes. Amy, no, they're going to have their own lawyers. Would your son kill her just because you don't get along? No. I hope not. Actually, my son is like such a loyal husband. He's grown into such a mature man. He's such a loyal husband and father that he would stick by his wife and his daughter. 100%. Yeah, I'm Stephen, I'm with you. I don't want anybody's ashes in my house either. It kind of Tifa, if you wanna help out on a live about that, I would love it. We have a few people on the team. We can get together and we can do a live on that. We can do like a deep dive on that. If you are on Facebook, Tifa, and you want to do that, hit me up. Oh, thanks, Dave. I don't know if Chris Watts has ever he's never done anything wrong in his life. He's never been in trouble. I don't think he really even knows what in the hell's going on at this point. He's always been like such a, just you tell him what to do and he does it. Like, he decided to go to NASCAR school. He just went to NASCAR school and he finished. And I'm not against anybody having anybody's ashes. You guys don't take that the wrong way. I definitely did not mean that. It's just my personal preference. But I was raised Catholic, so I don't know anybody in my family has ever been cremated. So Amy P says, unpopular opinion, I know. And everything else aside, those tapes, I saw a family who fiercely loved one another. My family would be the same. I saw a family that loved one another too. I saw a dad who really probably couldn't digest what had happened. And I saw a sister who obviously could not digest what happened. And I saw a mother who was just broken. I don't think he's trying to be a religious scholar. I think he's just that's all he can do. They all do it. All of those prisoners find God. They put their hearts and souls into it. That's all they have. I mean, think about it. Especially, he was in solitary confinement. You know what I noticed in those tapes? I noticed that Chris is very little boyish. He acted like a little boy. Childish, very childish. I saw that in the tapes. That was one thing that really stuck out to me in those tapes, was how childish he was. He's very smart. He's very smart, but he's very book smart. But in prison, you could only do so many things, like Dre said. Books, Bibles, art, law. I mean, they go to the law library. What do you mean, Kathy? Not one of them cried for the babies. They have definitely cried for those babies. You don't see them when they go out to the gravesite and visit Shanann and Nico and Bella and Celeste graves. I've seen pictures and I've been told stories. I think that's really neat, Blue Sugar. I've heard of those necklaces. I think that's really cool. George, they don't really talk to anybody. They don't. Who are they talking to that you know they don't talk about them? Because I talked to someone who just was at their house last week, and I've been told stories. The tapes are on Facebook. It's on your content. Chris was very different before Thrive, and that's one of the theories that I received that I'm going to be doing a video on is Chris, the theory that Chris was using Thrive and using too much Thrive, maybe along with steroids. I mean, do you really think that Ronnie and Cindy Watts would go to that gravesite if they didn't love them? And the Finn, absolutely. I'm sure if they could do things over again, the Watts would. And I also think Shanann would also. I do too. And that's why it's so important to look at everything, you know, because Shanann herself was starting to regret, oh my God, maybe I pushed him away. Maybe, you know, I lost sight. She got caught up in Thrive and these outings and these videos and everything that went along with it. There's just a lot of things that built up to get to what happened. Yeah, Stephen, that's another theory that I've heard. But that Thrive is stimulants. It's nothing but stimulants. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my 2 cents. But yeah, those tapes were, there was a few things in there that stood out to me, but mostly it was just a little cringe. I think that was just it had to be a crazy time for them to see him, and I don't know. I still do not think that's an excuse to kill. No, Janice. We all know there's no excuse to kill. We're just talking about the dynamics of what brought this seemingly normal man to a breaking point. Oh, Tawn, Lori, and Chad will be tried together. So that's the Cliff Notes. Well, I can't explain why Cindy said those things in those tapes, but what I can say is she hasn't lied. So for the dumbbells, I think we're back in court in November. Dave, go to bed. Yes, it's going to be great. Are you 13th, Tawn? Was that your name before, 13th juror? Oh my gosh, look at Alberta. What's going on with Morphew? If you guys want to rewind, we did a bunch of updates. I did, Janice. Wait, what did someone ask? I gotta go back up. I was just gonna answer you. Sandy, Jersey girl, I'm back. Have you heard the recent chatter from Cato and new book info? Your thoughts? I think it's 4:23 in the morning, Dave. Oh my God. Yeah, we just played the Lauren Shorf thing. I would think, though, if Chris was doing meth, he would have exhibited signs to other people. I don't think you can hide your meth use that easily, do you? If you guys missed the hearing, you got to rewind this video because I've been rambling. So, Cadel, I won't be buying her book. I have absolutely no interest in knowing what's in it, to be honest. Someone who plagiarizes and lies and deceives. That's just another one. She put her in the same group as Anna. Put her right there with Anna, is a crazy who came in under the guise of religion and duped the family and duped them again. Copyright Cato. And then the dum-dum has all these letters and she blows it. She could have had like this best-selling book on this case. And especially when Netflix came out, oh my God, the woman would have made tons of money. Right now she'd be rolling in the cash, but she's trying to clean up her sloppy mistake from the first time and cash in just a little bit because she got sued. She's a joke. She's an opportunist. She took advantage, and that was the outcome of it. Horrible. That's not a Christian. That's not a Christian-like thing to do. People like her are the reason why people don't want to be Christians. Yeah, she lied. She totally lied. Yeah, you're right. She probably needs to pay her legal fees from being sued by a New York Times best-selling author that she plagiarized. This is her revenge edition, yeah. Yeah, the first time she forgot to hire an editor. Yeah, this time she says she has one. Who said Anna's writing a book? Is she going to be the next Amber Fry behind bars? Well, then come to find out, I got sent all these screenshots from when Anna was following the case early on and letting all these people in the group to tell the Watts that she was local. And then she was in another group where they were watching something, or they showed a picture of him and he had the green whatever, whatever, the prison outfit. And she has a comment on Facebook where she says, oh yeah, my husband was moved from da-da-da prison and stopped at Dodge and he wore green when he was at Dodge. And I was like, oh dear God. I'm thinking, did she find her first husband the same way? Bye, Cindy. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I know. I'm going to be sitting here chatting. I'm supposed to be cleaning. Yeah, I don't know why anyone would, at this point, be even asking Cato questions and expecting to get the truth. I don't know who Dr. Donna is. I've never heard of him. It is highly overrated, but it's highly needing to be done. And now I don't feel like doing it. Symptoms of meth use: noticeable and sudden weight loss, hyperactivity, erratic sleeping patterns, outbursts or mood swings. Watts displayed all of those. Did he have mood swings, though, prior to that night? Reverend Donna? Oh, is that the psychic lady? I don't know anything about her. The dogs need to come to this Broomfield retainer. What, Mark? People take meth to clean house? Really? Have you guys ever heard of microdosing? The people microdose magic mushrooms or whatever the terpene or whatever is in magic mushrooms? That is something new. I've never heard of that. Has anyone here ever microdosed? From your understanding, he had previous affairs with who? Who did he have an affair with? Don't say Trent Bolt or Amanda McMahon. Oh, the wall in the Morphew case. I've never dosed either. Yeah, I drink coffee. You did shrooms back in the day, Brunch Mom? I can't wait to Dre, we got to get the 411 up and running. This is too funny. I just wonder what happened with Shanann and her friend Gina. That is the question of the day. Get some ginseng at GNC. It's safer than meth. I've never heard of anybody doing meth to clean. I don't know anybody who does meth. At least I'm not sure. I mean, they're hiding it if they do meth around me. Oh, I don't think that means you're bad. I know a lot of people that dabbled with it, but I never did. I was always so scared. Yeah, we need to fire up and break in the 411. Undecided says cocaine helps with cleaning. I've heard that. Lisa discovers that I did shrooms once and went and hid in the woods till it wore off from the paranoia. See, that's what scares me. Like all those stories I've heard. They use it for fuckfest too. Which, meth or? Oh, no. I don't mean like around me, right? They'll steal. I'm just saying, like, all the people that I've seen that do meth, you can visibly, like, they're gaunt. I mean, Chris Watts was healthy looking. Huh. I know meth is a problem all across the country. Do you, Tabitha? Interesting. How's it going for you, and how long have you been microdosing? Norm, no, I have not seen him joke about acid. But I remember back in the day when, what was that diet pill? It was, Herbalife, maybe not Herbalife, but something, and it had that ephedrine in it. That was before they banned it. Oh my God. I was probably, it wasn't the fen-phen. It wasn't a prescription. This was stuff you could buy in a bottle, but it had ephedrine. It was before like people started dying from it. Fen-phen. I remember fen-phen. I never took that though. I can't believe I took any diet pill at that time. I wasn't even remotely fat. But yeah, I mean, those diet pills, that ephedrine was a bomb. Talk about cleaning your house. Metabolife. Oh my God, that's it. Metabolife. Oh God. That shit was the bomb. I know you guys took Metabolife too. I can't be the only Metabolifer. I thought it was Herbalife. There is an Herbalife, but it was Metabolife. Yeah, it caused heart problems or something, but I was probably 22, 23 years old. Getting that Metabolife on. I never heard of that one, Charmaine. Chihuahua Dawson Gibson. What's got 3 teeth and is 53 feet long? The line up at the methadone clinic. Oh my gosh. That's kind of mean. That kind of makes me feel bad. Oh my God, my husband's home from work. I'm still live. There was a diet pill back in the 70s called AIDS candy, pronounced AIDS. My mom still laughs about taking them. AIDS candy. I'm like, oh, I'm still alive. Yeah, it is. It is sad. It makes me sad that people struggle so much, you know? Good night, Charmaine. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to sign off here. We have been chatting way too long. That is interesting, Stephen. Interesting theory. But yeah, I'm gonna present the one that was brought to me about the steroids, and then we can discuss it. I like talking about everybody's different theories and how you feel. So you guys have a really good day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for listening. Yes, Sandy. We'll catch up on the 411. And it was nice chatting. I don't usually do this. I haven't done this in a long time, so. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day.